Hey everyone, Mitch once again coming in from not the Commander's Core studio, so if my audio is just a bit off from what you're used to, that's why I'm using my Rode mic right now. It seems to be working all right, but yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you for bearing with me, just yeah, this different circumstance that I'm in right now when it comes to recording. So let's jump into it. Lazatep Sliver, we've got some brand new, incredibly cool cards from the brand new Precon that was previewed, I believe yesterday. I'm trying my best to catch up right now, but some really cool cards. Lazatep Sliver, obviously, hey, Sliver Tribal, that's what's going to want to use this card. A 4/4 zombie Sliver for 3 and a black. Sliver creature control of Afflict 2, which, again, I believe that one was from, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong on this, but Amonkhet, which would make sense, I guess, with the, you know, image here. Whenever a creature with Afflict 2 becomes blocked, defending player loses 2 life. So essentially, a punishment for even blocking the creature. And obviously, if you've got some slivers that are tiny, if you got a bunch of, you know, 1/1 slivers, technically blocking them might be a worse decision than actually not blocking them, depending. On top of that, whenever a non-token sliver you control dies, amass slivers 2. So that one says you put 2 counters on a sliver army you control. It's also a sliver. If you don't control an army, you get a 0/0 black sliver army creature token first. This is interesting because I believe this is the 3rd instance that we've ever seen when it comes to armies and creature types. First up, we had zombies from, is it like War of the Spark or something, essentially quite a while ago. And then we had finally amass orcs, which came in Lord of the Rings, and now we've got slivers. So we are seeing kind of wizards got to stretch things out a little bit. This is, you know, their kind of new approach to this mechanic where it's like, you know what, hey, it can be any creature type. And a quick reminder, I believe, and correct me in the comments below if I'm wrong out there, rules lawyers, that hey, if you do already have an army out there that's a zombie army and then you make a sliver army, it's adding to the same one and it's just changing the creature type. I believe that's correct. So then it'd be a sliver zombie army, there you go. Or a sliver zombie orc army, which would be kind of strange. Regardless, yeah, that is a huge effect because again, now you well have a benefit whenever your non-token slivers are taken out. You get to replace them in a way. Again, amassing is kind of weird because it's only like, yeah, if you don't have an army, you get to replace them with an army, but then after that, you are just kind of building that same army. So you can still have a pretty big sliver. Regardless, a very effective card, and yeah, sliver tribal decks are going to love this one. Moving up, hey, yet another sliver. Who knew? It is a new card from this brand new Precon, Hatchery Sliver, a 2/2 sliver for 1 and a green, and this one is spicy. Replicate for 1 and a green, which means that when you cast a spell, copy for each time it was the triple cost. Replicate cost was paid. We got there. And each sliver spell you cast has replicate. The replicate cost equal to its mana cost. So basically, hey, do you want to double up your sliver spells? That is crazy. And I mean, not even, you know, just double up. You could triple up, quadruple up. You can keep paying that replicate cost as many times as you need to, which is just crazy. So keep that in mind. Of course, there's some crazy things you can do as well. Again, it says each sliver spell. It's not a sliver creature spell, so I believe what is Crib Swap, I believe, is a changeling spell technically, so that is technically a sliver. So keep things like that in mind. There's some weird interactions, but just at a base level, being able to say, yeah, I love this sliver that I'm playing. I like multiple of them, and again, there's some slivers that have some amazing effects. Yeah, being able to double those up or even triple those up, that is huge. This card, I think, is going to be an absolute bombshell in a lot of Sliver tribal decks out there, and my goodness, can this do some work for you by helping your slivers do more work than they're already doing. Next up, Capricious Sliver. I hope I'm saying that right. Anyways, a 3/3 sliver for 3 and a red. Sliver creatures you control have, whenever this creature is common into a player, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. So yeah, impulse draw slivers. The amount of card advantage, I was about to hold myself right there. Potential card advantage, also, you know, you have to actually get through, but also temporary card advantage, right? But still being able to get that much card advantage off the top. This does not have that many limiting factors to it. Again, it's not like, hey, only once each turn, hey, only 1 per player. It doesn't say 1 or more. No, it's every single one of your slivers. If they hit an opponent, you are going to impulse draw 1. And of course, there's plenty of ways to make your slivers evasive. There's a lot of great slivers that can do that, ways to get them through. And yeah, just get a ton of extra value off the top of your library. Of course, there are, you know, Prosper decks out there, like, yeah, there's ways to take advantage of that. Of course, there are ways to take advantage of that too. But yes, just at a base level, saying, you know what, now on top of all the other ways to gain a lot of card advantage in slivers, here's yet another way to throw down and say, my slivers are even more deadly by being able to give me access to more cards, especially more great slivers, like, you know, maybe Regal Sliver. This one is really interesting, and I love it because it's got a mechanic that I absolutely love. 3/3 sliver for 3 and a white. Sliver creatures you control have, whenever this creature is battlefield, slivers you control get +1/+1 until end of turn if you're the monarch. Otherwise, you become the monarch. So This one's very interesting because, again, the Monarch is a mechanic that is well beloved by many in Commander because it encourages combat, and Slivers love combat. It says, you know what, hey, I'm going to get some extra card advantage unless you come at me, and by introducing this, you can add some nice, political kind of things into the table. Like, hey, oh, that person's got Monarch, let's go attack them. But also, hey, yeah, if you already are the Monarch, which is going to be pretty likely with this kind of a deck, again, you're able to really take advantage of being able to get through on opponents, having good defenses up too. If you are able to do that, well, every time your Slivers come into play, you get a nice pump effect for your entire team. And of course, if you got ways to maybe make Sliver tokens, hey, you've got some ways to just make a ton of value, pumping your creatures, hitting your opponents for even more. So yeah, I really like this card. Again, this has just brought in a lot more Slivers. The players are like, well, Sliver decks are already very powerful. It's going to make some choices even tougher when it comes to cutting cards. Next up, Taunting Sliver. Yet another 4-mana fantastic brand new Sliver that is going to be, well, yet another tough deciding factor for players when it comes to what to keep into a deck. A 3/3 Sliver for 3 and a blue. Sliver creature control have, when this creature is battlefield, go to target creature and opponent controls, which again means that until your next turn, the creature attacks if able and attacks another player than you if able. This can just be an absolute bombshell when you are ready to say, you know what? Hey, I've got my army. My creatures are really good to go. And, I don't like that creature that you have, so I'm going to force you to attack with that. It's going to either be damaging an opponent, getting taken out in combat, maybe take out opponent's creatures in combat. It's kind of like removal, essentially, with this, just by having your Sliver creatures come into play. And yeah, I mean, there is kind of a quote-unquote downside to go to the end of the game where it's like, oh yeah, okay, no, I'm forcing you to attack me, right, because I can't attack another player, but that's actually more so an upside because you're going to have great defenses to be able to say, yeah, I don't like that, commander you've got over there. Let's send it my way, and I will block because, again, you are still forcing that attack. So yeah, a crazy good Sliver. Next up, our final creature out of these, one that is not technically a Sliver, but basically is going to be a Sliver, a 6/6 Illusion Titan of Littjara for 4 blue, enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. With this deck, you're going to choose Sliver, but again, yeah, this one can be, this can apply to a lot of tribal decks out there. It's going to be the chosen type to choose other types, so again, this is going to be an Illusion, Sliver. Great, cool. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, you may draw a card for each other creature you control that shares a creature type with it. If you do, discard a single card. My goodness, this is on ETB or attack. That is huge. First of all, just by getting this in play, this is kind of like shamanic revelation in a way for you, because it's like, hey, yeah, okay, draw a card for each creature you control. Again, if you're in a tribal deck and you have this, you're just going to be like, oh yeah, okay, whatever tribe I'm running, cool. Slivers, in this case, obviously, I've got 10 Slivers in play. I'm going to be drawing 10 cards. Oh no, I discard 1 card. Basically, pull from tomorrow on an ETB or attack. Again, I mean, it's more like Shamanic Revelation, but still, it's just based on your creatures. This can go in a lot of tribal decks out there. I see this card being very, very popular. Again, very easy to abuse that ETB. Again, there's no cast trigger requirement for this. And of course, an attack trigger that can be used and abused as well. So yeah, if you got any extra combat spells, which of course can work really good in a Sliver deck because your creatures are going to be so deadly, you can take even more advantage of this. Keep in mind also that is a May, because maybe at a certain point you might have an absurd amount of creatures and you could mill yourself out, but you can't with this because again, that is a May. So make sure you keep that in mind. Moving on, we've got Descendants Fury, a new enchantment that is very exciting. Enchantment for 3 and a red. They seem to like the 4 mana value out of all these new cards. Regardless, whenever one or more creatures you control deal combination to a player, you may sacrifice one of them. If you do, reveal cards from the top of your library to reveal a creature card. Here's a creature type with a sacrifice creature. That card on the battlefield for the rest of the your library in a random order. My goodness, this is a very, very cool, very, very flavorful, very, very, I mean, kind of like controlled chaos in a way, I would say, because yeah, I mean, with a Sliver tribal deck, you probably have ways to make Sliver tokens. There's even a brand new community, if you haven't seen the episode that I talked about yesterday, that actually makes Sliver tokens as well, kind of like Sliver Queenish. And yeah, if you just have like a 1/1 Sliver, sure, it's got maybe other pump effects and whatnot from your other Slivers, that's just a token. It gets through. This doesn't say one or more, non-token creatures. You can sacrifice any of your creatures. It can be a token creature. You just get rid of it, and you reveal cards off the top of your library until you hit something probably a lot better than what you're sacrificing. Again, get a Sliver off the top in play. I can see this card again being massive in a lot of tribal decks out there that want to be aggressive in combat. Dragons are probably going to run it as well. It's got dragons in play too, which that's probably just kind of giving you a hint right there in the art. But yeah, basically, hey, this is going to be a great card in many tribal decks. Sliver decks obviously can be aggressive. Again, like I mentioned earlier, have ways to get those Slivers through, have ways to make tokens, have ways to really take advantage of Slivers, ETBs, etc. This can be absolutely massive, and this can just be really fun in a deck that, you know, like a changeling tribal deck might really enjoy something like this too, because hey, if you're sacrificing a changeling, that has every creature type, so whatever the next creature you hit off the top of your library, some crazy things can occur. So yeah, a very, very cool design. I believe this is the final one though. For the Ancestors, an instant for 2 and a green. Choose a creature type, look at the top 6 cards of your library, reveal any number of cards of the chosen type from among them, put the real in your hand. The rest of the bottom of your library in random order, flashback for 3 and a green. This, I mean, I don't want to say like, you know, staples like automatic and in colors. I don't like saying that, but this is going to be a huge card for tribal decks that have green. If you have, you know, a glut of creatures in your deck that are that, you know, one tribe, if you've got like 30 plus, I mean, you're going to be hitting quite a few off the top. I mean, just imagine casting this at instant speed. Again, it being an instant is massive. Casting this at instant speed for 3 mana, looking at the top 6, and maybe getting 3+ cards off the top. Even if you get 2, that's still very good. And also on top of that, you can flash this back for just 3 and a green. 1 more mana than you actually spent to cast this. Yeah, that is pretty fantastic. Basically, double, not card draw, but card advantage. Be able to creatures off the top. Again, if you've got, you know, a critical mass of creatures in your deck for that creature type, yeah, you're going to want to consider this one a great new tribal spell that can just be a fantastic card. And of course, I should say tribal, but also, you know, other ones like, you know, like changeling decks too could be considering it too. Regardless, overall, some really exciting new cards. I hope that you enjoyed them. Yeah, make sure that you're staying tuned for even more exciting quick takes and spoilers coming up. Yeah, I believe the next 3 days or so, right, they're going to be the new spoilers as well from the new products. There's 3 more Commander decks. And yeah, make sure you're staying tuned for that. Comment below your thoughts on all these. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.